fascist consciousness has taken culture and said to everyone who doesn't break windows, they're fascist. In other words, anyone who doesn't practice anarchy are preventing the artist from painting, the meditator from drinking their fluids and staring at their wall. Fascist consciousness, unfortunately, has to do with drugs, gangsters and thugs and bullies and those who harass, and those who want no restrictions, no boundaries and no limits for their selves, their egos, and minds, for their behavior to be able and ready to express their humanity and share what they have with a world everywhere, instead of locally in the United States of America, a system with processes oppressing those they are freeing from slavery and liberating from abuse and suffering and poverty. Those Antifa, those anarchists, those black-dressed, boot-wearing, language-using, letters-saying, sound-making philosophy theorists there's no illegal substance on earth. They're all beneficial for art and therefore anti-fascist. And most of all, they are consciousness. And those who seek consciousness and not hatred and violence and racism are correctly living on a planet Earth. They show with their flag, working towards climate change elimination in the process of their system. No longer saying to a bully, thug, violent gangster, assaulter, they're incorrect. Instead, providing rehabilitation instructions, videos and movies, spoken word and dialogue and conversations with coffee. Stealing from grocery stores with energy available. Causing businesses to go bankrupt and shut down. Selling food and water to those who want consciousness and not death and dying from hunger and starvation, thirst and malnutrition. The anti-fascist are those who want consciousness to continue, who want a stimulation to never end, a hallucination psychedelic now, to not have time. Similar to Hunter S. Thompson, blowing his brains out, going. But unfortunately, not all who live want to die in those conditions of adrenaline, confusion, misdirection, and tripping out. A great Buddhist teacher named Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, who taught crazy wisdom after he fled from Tibet when it was taken over by Mao in China and communism. And Pema Chodron, a nun, Tibetan Buddhist monk, was with him when he died, and said how peacefully and how quietly and how silently and how gently his consciousness, him, left his body when his heart stopped beating and his lungs stopped breathing. Frantic consciousness with protesters and broken windows and graffiti and trash everywhere, with buildings instead of people shopping for essential necessities, boarded up with violent slogans and death and dying to a group of people called the police they hate and want dead now. Observers who are making sure consciousness reaches the levels they've set as necessary for a process they don't talk about to continue. And when those conditions are disrupted, there are thousands, hundreds, a few in groups occasionally, out enforcing and eliminating those, especially religious followers who are Christian, with force and violence, emotion, and signs saying go to HELL, long live Satan, they say now, to those who believe in Jesus and God. And then they also buy more drugs to sell, providing them economic benefits for their consciousness and for their weapons acquisitions, their tactical gear purchases. Giving some crack, giving some methamphetamine, giving some LSD and mushrooms, and then buying some marijuana cannabis to help when their consciousness dims from a body unable to power their journey, their trip. Art and culture, with consciousness as a process involving energy, to help beauty, to help clarity, to help awareness and attention and concentration and focus, are inherent. Instead of boredom trying to figure out the mystery of consciousness, there's humans with sewing needles, sewing machines, kitchens full of pans and pots making foods to sell to those who need a product, knitting, painting, and drawing. Fast-paced music and bizarre lyrics. And mood-making electronic noise and sound and ambient relaxation. Now,